name is Nancy Fox. I'm a medium as a Saint Guadalupe, and I will now channel you for her. She is in my being speaking. I am Saint Guadalupe, channeling by my medium, Miss Nancy L. Fox, to explain words to stop tragedies from happening. Many tragedies every day, and the biggest tragedy is a nuclear war attack is set up. And this is due to the fact that a dumb airhead, 6 foot tall, nearly blonde, stole Nancy Fox's Son of God job notice off the front door of River Farm Drive, their sanctuary home, in the fall of 2005. And she plotted to do this since 1977 to steal Nancy's Son of God jobs and Son of God money, trying to convince herself that Nancy could never do this, wasn't capable of this job, when the job is custom designed for our Lotus Nancy Fox angel board reader job. It's an angel board reader job she stole, and that's because Nancy's angel board arrived, which she posted online, which China saw and said, "Oh, finally, Nancy has arrived at her spiritual self, where she is prepared to conquer the world and save the females, waiting for this day for so long, her entire life, for the day to arrive for her to do this job for us." And they planned this and waited and sent money to Wall Street, to the White House, to California to protect her, and do send money, nurturing funds they call it, wherever she is living. They send money so the area is beautified, beautification money for the Son of God, Nancy Fox, and she does own half of the Empire State Building, half of Wall Street, and Bloomingdale's, and Macy's maybe, and half of Starbucks, or 3/4 of Starbucks coffee, and nobody has given her that information. Is when she was a child, except us from heaven, is when she was a child, they want her to live a normal middle class, upper to middle class life, and to be low-key and just be a normal kid and not have people inform her she's a celebrity. And so the notice said she can never be on television, and it can't be announced she's the Son of God, because crowds will come rushing after her and she could get smothered to death. And that was the reason. And so they just wanted her to have a normal, happy life, happy childhood and youth, and to not be informed that she's the Son of God as a female, Jesus Christ, until she turned 18 years old. And that notice came and was thrown away by the evils who do this to her, who plot since she was 7 years old to steal her Son of God notices and fan mail and money and Wall Street cash residuals. And they steal it all and lie they cover it, and lie they're acting as an accountant, and no, they do not whatsoever. They rip it all off. Those are the words, modern day terms I'm using, that I do know from being around everybody in America and Mexico and all over. I am everywhere, as I am Guadalupe, the Saint, Lord, and Goddess in heaven, with Princess, Goddess, Lord, Saint Diana, the Goddess in London and heaven, and Nancy Gail Fox is our Goddess on earth to save females. So Dam Jan plotted to steal this job, and she was Nancy's assistant in the 1980s. Nancy trained her and provided her a job, and she's an assistant automatic pilot type, and Nancy is the leader, the boss type. Nancy is the costume designer and nominated for an Emmy, by the way. Probably they messed that up also, and she didn't win, but she was nominated for an Emmy at a young age, 28 years old, bought a condo at 28 years old, got sober at 25, and is honest, ethical, kind, and detached from Jan as she got sober in AA and didn't have much in-depth conversation with her after that, and hardly ever heart-to-heart talk, as they're on different paths. So she basically had a wall between her and this person, Jan, who ran around plotting to steal her Son of God job when it arrived on the front door, which she did. Then she had somebody else steal it, 2007, the mortgage broker, and $10 million, which had $2 million for the Lord of Mercy. Nancy's, he was her boyfriend, love of life, and he was supposed to get $1.5 million and $500,000 to buy a condo at Summer Shore Lane to guard Nancy and her daughters with his life, and to guard Nancy's mother with his life. And many funds have come to pay the house off and gate the driveway, and they're all sent away by Dam Jan, who plotted to steal her Son of God job. And she does everything the opposite of Nancy Fox. Nancy Fox is an AA Al-Anon member, longtime Al-Anon, and works a great program, and went to ACA and Codependence Anonymous in the 1980s, and when she was around 28 years old and 27. And Nancy learned there, zip your lips and don't cause trouble. And she learned in AA at 25 years old, don't manipulate, check your motives, and don't gossip, and don't stir up drama, and she don't repeat information, don't cause trouble. And that's how she is. is she never repeated private real estate information. She never talked ill of an AA member. She never would gossip or repeat private information they gave her. And that's her way, it's very private, and she's over ethical. And even people, mortgage brokers or whoever, would say, oh, who are they buying a house, or this and that, or what's it selling for, or I can't talk about it, or who are you looking for a house for, and she wouldn't tell them, as it's private information. So people would try to get it out of her, and she's very private and doesn't hurt feelings, and is very nurturing and loving, works a fantastic Al-Anon program, says Lois Wilson, and mostly she always does, but it's very difficult these past 5 years with her. Well, the whole story's on the YouTube, and that is a very long story, but it's very difficult under these conditions with Nancy being flat broke and knowing people are trying to kill her and her kids and trying to capture them, and she has no mail. So it's very difficult to know. People are blocking her psychic readings, ruining her psychic career, robbing all her income, robbing her victims' money, robbing her stop traffic office money, and working and working and working to save her and her daughter's lives 20 hours a day, and working and working and working for money, family law, court money, lawyer money, and you name it, rent money, stop traffic office money, working and working so hard at cracking this case since summer 2008 and requesting victims' money since 2009. And magazines she's faxed, and sent her screenplay every place, and her daughter's resumes to make them famous so they can't be missing and called off to slavery. And she knew this when the stalkers came in 2008. So she's worked harder than anybody, and God says she's raised more victims' money than anybody in history. 900,000 and 900 zillion she could be worth, and it's all stolen by people ripping it off and signing and sending it elsewhere, so she's flat broke. So she's worked her tail off and earned every penny of it, and it's human rights money to stop slavery internationally, and to stop human sex traffic, cure cancer, stop global warming, and stop disasters, and prolong life. And for NASA, it's for many things, and it's for her profit writing. The money is sent for her profit writing, and it is being stolen. And people copycat and mimic her and steal it. And they steal her victims' money on Western Union online. They shovel it out of ATM machines. They've been stealing her money from U.S. Bank since 2005, God sakes, or 9, or 8, or 7. But they've been stealing her money for years and lying they're Son of God associates, and no, they're not. Nancy works all alone. So there's Son of God account somewhere in Washington, D.C. maybe, that pays people $400 a week to be a bodyguard for Nancy, Hannah, Jessica, to guard them with their life. And that money is not, they might be putting Nancy's income into that account somewhere in L.A., and then giving it all away and saying, here's to cover the family, here's to cover the family. Well, it's Nancy's money, and the people who do that say, here's to cover the family, they cover to capture them to slavery. And the money is so they're never taken to slavery, and the people are paid $400 a week to guard them with their life to make sure nobody steals their money or slanders them or steals their mail. And that they are supposed to be covering to protect them. And the people that are being paid money, or that are, say they're in charge of paying the money, they are covering to murder them and to take them to slavery. And that's how they take all the nice moms and girls, all the mothers and daughters, and grandmothers and sons sometimes, and babies and toddlers, is they lie, they cover for safety, and they cover to take them to slavery. And when they take them away with a pack of men in cars or on foot or an ambulance, they say they're taking them to safety, they're taking them to slaughter them. And they take people to slavery by lying they are helping, and that's how they capture them. And they've done it for eons of years, every place, the same way. And so they're stealing Nancy's income, paying people to cover, and they are covering to murder. And so it's an injustice, first of all, and she's worked so hard for this money, and people keep stealing it, and stealing it, and stealing it, and it's her profit money for writing for my brother Jesus Christ. It's for writing for Jesus, God Almighty, me, Guadalupe. Money is coming from Mexico, and probably they'll try to steal that too. Virgin Mary, John Lennon, George Harrison, Princess Diana, Nixon, JFK, past presidents, Eisenhower. She's written all these speeches from heaven to stop slavery internationally. And she is the prophet, she is the medium, she is the writer doing the work, and it's her money only. And they are stealing it left and right, saying, it's ours for covering, it's theirs for covering, here's for covering. No, it is Nancy Fox's money to be in her bank accounts and in her daughter's bank accounts. And a lot of it is bodyguard money people send to get the people who say they're covering away from them, and it's to save their life. And many loans were sent to pay off Riverfront Drive. 850,000 China sent in 2005, and more was sent from Japan. 2009, 80 grand to finish the payoff, and 500,000 supposed to be in reserve that has been put aside for Nancy Fox since she was a minor, and she was supposed to get that $500,000 when her gift arrived, and that's to protect her and her family while she does her prophet mission. And that's the whole purpose of the money sent from the leaders, is to protect the prophet Nancy Fox. And they're silencing the prophet. They are blocking communication. They are framing, slandering, robbing, shystering, manipulating, lying, and blocking. They hack and emails and block it and change your tips and do FedEx and do plagiarism and copycat and mimic and change the tips from God and Jesus and from me, Guadalupe. And so it's the evil working against the good. And Nancy has no money at all, can't even buy a cup of Starbucks coffee. Her computers are broken. She does not have money to repair them. And people have sent so much money in computer gift cards and fast computers from Bill Gates, Gateway, and Toshiba maybe, and from China Lady. They have sent computers for Nancy Fox. And they sent money and men who are supposed to be her computer assistants, Geek Squad, 2010. Well, they sided with the devil, went underground, and they hacked Nancy Fox, never met her, of course, and they are the ones raping the kids. And they're raping the kids under the Sherman Oaks Mall, and there's 10 tunnels in Sherman Oaks under houses or in the street by a manhole, 100-foot drop. They shoot down, crawl down a tunnel to the cement area where they rape the kids and say they have their way with them. Then they hose off the area. Then they put charcoal all over them and put them on a cart to LA train station to throw them in a fire and say they sold a piece of crap, worthless person, piece of charcoal in the fire or something like that. They're the most horrific antichrist, torturing, murdering, slaughtering, pedophile, rapist pigs, and they are disturbed in the head, and they are the ones who say they cover kids, and they say they cover from their mom, nice mom. They lie, they're protecting for the parents. And no, for the mom, usually they frame, they are covering to murder and rape the family and torture them and slaughter them and put black all over them with chalk, coal, and then lie there a piece of crap coal after they have their way with them and hose off the area. That is what they do underground California. And I'm St. Guadalupe. Jan stole Nancy's job, plotted it since 1977, and she is the opposite of Al-Anon. It's everybody, well, first of all, she bugs people talking to themselves or to a friend or parent, their family or something, maybe talking about an actor on TV or a musician, and, oh, I don't like so-and-so's hair, or I don't like her, she's so snobby, or whatever they say negative about a celebrity or about somebody they saw at an AA meeting or a school or anything. Anything they say bad about a person, they tape it, they bug it, and they keep a log of this. And then, when it comes time to try to murder them in slavery, whoever comes to save the person, they will send bugging of what the person said about them, or they'll loop something with an actress so the person won't like them, so they won't come to save them. And that's what they do to all the families in their neighborhoods, in schools, in courthouses, and everywhere. If the person's talking to their daughter or whoever about something, or a neighbor, or, oh, I didn't like so-and-so, or, oh, I heard she got a DUI, or, oh, this or that, or, I didn't like that TV show, she really got on my nerves, and I didn't like that feature, and I fell asleep during it, or whatever it is. And they bug this, and then play it for the person, and then they play it for the whole things for the whole neighborhood. See how mean she is? She said such and such about so and so. She said this and that about him and her and la la la. They even praise things from when they're teenagers, and say they're a troubled family, and they run around and make trouble everywhere in the neighborhoods, the schools, their office, and the person maybe never said it to anybody like Nancy Fox wouldn't. She only says things or out loud to herself, like driving in the car, maybe complaining about a realtor client. Oh, they talk so long. Maybe she told her kids, oh, they talked my ear off, and I'm on the phone with them 3 hours, or they talk so long, I'm so worn out by it, or whatever. Maybe complaining, a real estate customer was complaining, talking too much with most of them too, especially sellers. So they would complain 3 hours or 5 hours even. You're on the phone listening like a therapist, and it's something like that. Even though Nancy likes the person, she does a good job, ethical, honest, caring, and really does like them, but knows sellers like to complain a lot. So she might have said it to herself, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got off the phone with so-and-so. Oh, I'm exhausted. They're complaining so much about selling their house, or whatever it is. And then Jan would get this on a tape and play it for that real estate customer. That is how sick and evil she is. She does the opposite of Al-Anon. As in Al-Anon, you don't make waves, you don't make trouble, you don't meddle, you don't gossip, you don't manipulate, and you don't tell people what somebody said about them if it would hurt their feelings. And all she does is hurt feelings and cause anger and stir up trouble. She runs around and does this with a caseworker. And that's all they do, and they do it to many, many mothers. And that's how they take people to slavery. That is one way, one of the things they do, is they run around neighborhoods and say, see what she said about the principal when she saw him, said his hair looked greasy or whatever, and see what this person and that, and see, she's so mean. No? Nancy probably said it in the car driving, venting out loud, talking to herself, or wrote it even in a AA inventory that Jan would bug and then tell everybody what's in an inventory. And she is not in the 12-step program, obviously, so they do the opposite of the 12-step program. In Al-Anon, especially Al-Anon and Coda, Al-Anon, you learn you do not make trouble or hurt feelings. You don't gossip or lie, and anybody who is coming to rescue our Son of God, Lord, is Nancy Fox and her daughters, Jan is sending away by sending bugging. And so is a caseworker, and a lot of it is looped. It is looped bugging. They do bugging on people. They did I Spy in their house illegally, and God sent Nancy the dream of River Farm Drive so they could move to a safe house with a steep driveway, like a Montecito retreat, a Serenity retreat, to be safe from the devil in L.A., as we believe they might have had illegal I Spy in Chandler Drive also. And they tried to kidnap him over the back fence in 1997 to take him underground to slavery, the husband also. So God was so relieved that Nancy was planning to move to the one story and have her mom move in. In 2005, she spruced up Chandler's, God's wording, to get top dollar price, made $350 or so, or $320 equity, and bought River Farm Drive one story. And God sent her the dreams, and Shirley Mancuso sent her dreams of the house. So when her and her daughters pulled up to the house, Nancy said, oh my God, I dreamed about this street exactly with the horse sign and knew it was a house, and walked in and heard the church bells chiming from St. Jude's Church that rang every hour that she loved, and Hannah loved it. Hannah would always say, oh, it's so great, we always know what time it is. So it was a very peaceful, serene feeling at River Farm Drive for Nancy, Hannah, and Jessica, the single mom and her two daughters. And Denise Fox was planning to move into one story. And God sent the dream and was so relieved. They bought the house, and then China sent money, and Japan maybe, and $500 in reserves since she was a minor girl, was to pay the loan down or be reserved. And then damn Jan, what'd she do? Put illegal I Spy in River Farm Drive. Ruined their life. And everybody, as she plotted since 1977 to steal Nancy's Son of God funds, and back to that, they are stealing Nancy's money, medium for God, doing business as an individual. Her stop traffic office money she's been raising since for 4.5 years. Victims money she's been raising since 2005. Pro bonos she's emailed and called and mailed, and lawyers and family law court money and bodyguard money and victims money and rent cash and fax line and Wi-Fi and vet money. $1 million vet money they stole that Nancy raised for Figaro. So ticket money, she raised 10 grand from London Anti-Slavery or Whoopi Goldberg. And everything that is coming that Nancy is raising, Jan is stealing, and they lie it's Son of God money and say, I assumed your Son of God role. So did Mary Forrest. Oh, we have a mimic, Nancy. And then we steal everything that's coming for Nancy Fox and say, oh, it's Son of God, Son of God, Son of God. And they put it all in those bogus accounts and rip it all off. So they're stealing Nancy's meaning for God's psychic profit money, and that's coming for her WordPress and the speeches she sends around the world since 2009, and they're stealing her money and lying it goes in a Son of God account. And no, it's supposed to go a medium for God, Nancy G. Fox Taylor, DBA. And that's the game they're playing. And they're stealing it still, and now the caseworker's running around putting fraud liens on the mail again to rob all Nancy's income and all her stop traffic office money. She's even giving it away, so Nancy's stuck and broke and can't report them. And they say they're never going to stop doing it. They're going to keep doing it. Now the caseworker says, here's a lien, because she's a delusionary and imagined everything. There was no stalkers at River Farm Drive, even though the mom says she reported it to the sheriff 5 times. She says, oh, that mom imagined it. Oh, she thinks she's Nixon. And that caseworker is driving in Nancy's Mercedes she stole, and stole her stop traffic at DCFS job, May 2010, from the Royal Crown Plaza. And a ring was sent for Nancy Fox and for Jesus' sister, and that has been stolen. Perfume, cultured pearls, and you name it, 1,000 Ristolin for the dermatologist. And the caseworkers running around, scribbling notes on everything, and saying, you keep it, Stacey's a piece of crap, Mom. Stacey's lollygagging around. Oh, she imagines stalkers. Here, we'll go steal all the mail again with Mary and Forrest, the witches, who rip off Nancy Fox since 2010, when all Nancy's victims' money came that she worked so hard for 2 years since 2009, and then it all came in, truckloads of presents. Forrest and Mary and Nini's wearing a size 10 shoes, and the caseworkers sitting underground, ripping it all off in a truck and grabbing it on Pandora Boulevard with all their vulture Satan hands. And they say they're not stopping it. And people are dead every second. Nancy Fox, our prophet, does not have a computer. She does not have a fax line for years because they ripped off her fax money and gave it to the witch Forrest, the full moon Wicca witch. She's a witch. Gobbling up Nancy's gourmet meals, seized candy, Mary stealing Nancy's floral arrangements, stole her and her daughter's safe house in Studio City, and those were purchased or leased for Nancy, Hannah, Jessica, and those are because of Nancy's letters, and her mother pleas for help, and her hard work, and the houses are for Nancy, Hannah, Jessica, because of Nancy Fox, the mother's hard work to save their lives, and the pro bono and family law money, and all of that is her hard work and to save her daughter's life. And Mary the witch steals it all, living in her safe house, gobbling up Nancy's food at Art's Deli. So those are tips to prove Art's Deli. Chin Chin Forrest gobbles up Nancy's Chinese chicken salad and mango iced tea and peanut noodles and says, that's for me, the witch. Forrest knew the witch. I'm going to eat everything that says Son of God, medium for God, Nancy Fox on it. We'll write to all the news media with Miss Doll. She'll say she imagined everything and then rob all Nancy Fox's money and all her victims' money she's raised. All her victims' money at all the Western Union online with Jan Sobo, the dumb doofus 6-foot-tall idiot who's robbed all her presents to Aspen View Way. Nee says you need Kathleen Fox. Keep on robbing Nancy Fox. Lie, we do the job she does. Nanny and Nancy all say, and tell the same lie with Johnny David. Rob everything that said Nancy Fox and a God on it.